playing Fire Kings.
So this is when mermails
It's
just
Fire
say
Kings, I
that
had no
the
choice.
opponent doesn't win.
Fire Kings suck too much to give you a choice.
Okay. Hey there YouTube, NinjaNick333, and here's my thoughts on the TCG ban list for Yu-Gi-Oh! For the September 2013 to December 31st, 2013, time frame. Now, that's the biggest thing going on with it, is now, I know some people are having a little trouble reading. They see December and automatically go, oh, 3 months. We're going to have 4 new ban lists every year. No. It says December 31st. So we're having 3 new ban lists a year instead of 2. I think that's pretty great because that changes the meta more often. Usually by the end of the 4th month, a lot of the people who've been playing highly competitively are really burnt out and sick of the meta, and they want to change. So that's when they start playing the stupid decks that aren't meta, but are still stupid because they're herp derpy, but whatever. So that's probably really good. It's going to keep prices farther down because of fear that these great cards are going to be hit, most likely. I mean, I could be wrong at anything I say here, but, all opinions. And, I mean, otherwise, it's gonna have Konami react to problems faster. Like, Spellbook of Judgment and E-Dragons, they've been out for these 3 months, and they've been wreaking havoc on everyone. Imagine if that wasn't fixed for 6 months. Like, that would be ridiculous. So that's, like, their thinking. Now I'm going to go over the entire new ban list, and then after that, I'm going to give you my thoughts on each card individually. So, first up, banned cards. I have the list next to me, because obviously there's no way I could remember all this off the top of my head. But banned cards. Burner, Dragon Ruler of Sparks. Reactant, Dragon Ruler of Pebbles. Blah blah blah, Stream, Lightning, all the baby dragons. We all know that. Then we've got Card Destruction, Elemental Hero Stratos, Spellbook of Judgment, Super Rejuve, Solemn Judgment, Ultimate Offering, Shockmaster, Gateway of the Six, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, and Pot of Avarice. Holy crap, that's a lot of banned cards. Usually they only go for a few at once, and another thing is that this ban list is completely different from the OCG one. Usually they just cut and paste, really. So that's another good thing, because as we all know, our meta is always completely different because we're always at least 3 months behind them, set-wise. And then we get our TCG exclusives, they get their OCG exclusives. The wind-ups weren't really a thing in the OCG, yet I'm pretty sure Shark and Rabbit were TCG exclusives, and those made the deck. I could be wrong about that one. Limited, so these cards only go to 1 copy now. Atlantean Dragoons, Brotherhood of the Firefist Spirit, Deep Sea Diva, GNX Ally Birdman, Rescue Rabbit, Thunder King, Evagishki Mind August, Dulorin, Constellar M7, D Fissure, Gold Sark, Royal Tribute, Bottomless, Compulse, Eradicator, Macrocosmos, Soul Drain, Torrential. And that's a lot of cards being limited. Then semi-limited, we have Mizuki, Plague Spreader Zombie, TG Striker, Tenki, and D-Prison. Holy crap. And then finally, the cards that are going back to 3, no longer on the forbidden or limited list. We have Destiny Hero Malicious, Agent Earth, Tsukiyomi, A Hero Lives, Black Whirlwind, E Emergency Call, Heretic Seal of Convocation, Pot of Duality, and Scapegoat. Wow, that's a lot of stuff coming off the list at one time also. We usually only get 1 or 2. So now I'm going to scroll back to the top of the list and go over everything and I'm going to talk about my thoughts of what I thought they might have hit, what I would have wanted them to hit, and differences between, and then maybe some of the differences between the OCG. So, first off, the 4 baby dragons knew that they were going to be hit, hands down. The deck just doesn't work without them for E-dragons. So now that's not going to be a thing anymore. I, for one, am happy. Yes, I played it for a little while, but it made me sick to play because all of my friends then, like, hated me because I wouldn't even have to try in order to beat them. Yeah, there's definitely a significant difference between someone who doesn't know what they're doing with E-dragons, someone who's actually a skilled player with E-dragons. I was probably somewhere in the middle, but you don't even have to try. I went against our store's best player. He was playing spellbooks, and he had everything for spellbooks. He had the judgments, and he was herp-derping all over the place, just like always. But I'm just like, okay, summon herp, summon derp, overlay for herp derp, big eye, set my herp derp, pass turn, activate herp derp, there goes your whole deck. Because Eradicator's a card. So, I was nearly undefeated with that deck. I think I only lost to the Malefic Gravekeeper, Dino Rabbit, Anti-Meta Clusterfuck of Terabad, which I also have on here. Next up, Card Destruction. This is one card that I've wanted banned since Dark Worlds was a thing. Oh my god. Dark Worlds isn't that great of a deck because it's just so easy to side against them and completely obliterate the deck. It's just like card destruction, and then they have like 3 Grappas, 3 Snows. It's like, what do? So, I mean, that's a thing. And then it was used in E-Dragons. The second I even thought of that was like mind-blowing. It's like, wow, I can discard my hand, draw a new one, and now I have 2 hands. Because that's how E-Dragons work. So that was definitely something that needed to be hit. So I'm glad that they finally did. Now, next up, Elemental Hero Stratos. Now, Stratos, I keep hearing people saying that Stratos isn't broken, Stratos is good at 1. Why are you banning Stratos? Heroes are now dead. No, heroes aren't dead at all. Heroes are exactly where they were before. It's just the only difference is now Stratos is an e-call, and then you get a Hero Lives on top of it. And with a little D Hero Malicious on the side. Like, you know, like, that would make D heroes a little too, D, as in Destiny, heroes too good. To be able to search that Malicious and you D draw and your whatnot, that would be too good. But now, with heroes, when you generally play Bubblebeat, which you may know, I have like 3-4 deck profiles on different hero variants on here. And I've had more than that before I deleted all my videos off this channel. Heroes are not hurt by this at all. Normally, your best play in Bubblebeat is like summon Stratos, search for the Bubble Man, set your whole hand, special summon Bubble Man. Okay, well now what do you do instead? Set your whole hand, special summon, you normal summon Alias, set your whole hand, activate the face down, E-call, special summon Bubble Man, overlay. It's the exact same thing. It's just now instead of normal summoning Stratos, you now set a spell card. It works exactly the same, except E-call can't be bottom list. Now my dog's having some sort of like burping attack or something, I don't know. But anyway, I honestly do not think that heroes are any worse off than they were before because they gave us the 3rd E-call. Plus then it doesn't make D heroes as broken, bringing Mally back to 3 with the 3D draws and whatnot. Okay, so next, Spellbook of Judgment. That card was easily the most broken card ever printed in the entire history of the game. No one can argue with that. It is a fact. It basically says it on the card. Whenever I read the card text, it was like, this card is broken, this needs to get hit. Doesn't matter if you can Eradicator it, doesn't matter if you can stop it any way, shape, or form, it's still a card that lets you net infinite amount of pluses, and you search whatever you want, and you get your search cards, and you special summon beaters, and you special summon guys that make you can't do anything, Cough Jaugen, Cough Kaiku. It's Spellbook of Judgment. It was gonna get hit, no matter what. Super Rejuve. This card has been ridiculously OP since Heretics came out. Anytime a monster is tributed or discarded that's a dragon type, you get to draw a card for each. Okay, well, obviously, what's going to happen when E-Dragons become a thing? Well, you discard your whole hand, draw a new one with Super Rejuve. You card Destruction, discard your whole hand, draw a new one, Super Rejuve, get a whole new hand, Super Rejuve, draw a whole new hand, Super Rejuve, draw a whole new hand. Now you have 3 cards left in your deck. That is on Team Tony's page, me doing that. I had 3 cards left in deck on the first turn. You shouldn't be able to do that in a balanced game. End of story. Though I'm sure nobody would be arguing with me anyway. Alright. Next up, Solemn Judgment. This is one thing that I don't think should have been hit. Though I can see why. Solemn Judgment is just a card where you flip it over, pay half your life, and say no to whatever the heck you want. It's probably one of the most powerful cards in the game, but I honestly don't think that that's overpowered, because not only are you paying half your life points, but the card was only at 1, and now with Heavy Storm gone and this being a really slow format, just the Solemn Judgment could really be something that matters in a game. So maybe that's why they hit it. I'm kind of upset, but I personally didn't really like it as a card because of the whole paying half thing. And with a Hero Lives, you pay half your life points all the time anyway, so it didn't really work in my hero deck, which is my go-to deck, so. Ultimate Offering, same thing as Card Destruction. This works with certain decks that just hurt derp all over the place the second you draw it, and it's like, what do? In Gadgets, you open this up first turn, you win. In Madolches, you open this up first turn, you win. If Stratos was at 3 and you open this up, you would win. Because, like Madolche Magdalene, you summon that, search Magdalene, summon that, search Magdalene, summon that, search Butler-Usk, summon that, game. Then you have Gadgets, you go summon red, get the next one, summon that, 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 get the next, and it keeps going. And then you Gear Gang X and you search for more and you summon those and you have Kagita. Oh my god, it's just so nuts. The decks are decent on their own, but just with that one card, it makes them ridiculously broken. And not only that, but that's a card that you can open up late game, and as long as you still have enough of the targets in your deck, you can still OTK with it. Which made it completely not okay in my book. Next up, number 16, Shockmaster. Now, a lot of people are very upset with this, but I entirely agree with this. The reason Shockmaster was created was to stop things like E-Dragons, like Dark Worlds, just like a deck that, spellbooks even, a deck that relies solely on one specific type of card to keep going off in the same turn. You just declare that type and say no, and that just doesn't happen. If you're going to go for game, your opponent has a lot of back row, you detach, sit, call traps. Now you know that there's not a magic cylinder or something like a mirror force down there that's going to be able to stop you from going for game. When you're playing spellbooks, you just say detach, call spells. Your opponent cannot do anything because they play like 4 monsters. No, I'm joking, but like not that many monsters, and the rest is like all spells. You call monster effects and E-Dragons, you can't use the babies, you can't use the big guys. What other kinds of decks can I put out there that I can say? Heck, against Dark Worlds you can call spells, they can't discard. There. So, I mean, the only thing they've got is Trans Archfiend as their discard outlet, and the deck has to discard in order to work. So that's kind of why. Now the thing is, as they're hitting all of these ridiculously overpowered Tier 0 decks off, just so that they don't work anymore and slowing the whole format down as a whole, Shockmaster is a card that then becomes just as overpowered as those were in the previous format. So, like, you've got your select few traps you can even play now. Shockmaster call traps. You know you've got nothing to fear. So Shockmaster was meant to balance out those, but now that those aren't there, he would need to be balanced out. So just chop him out of the equation. good guy Konami for once, right? Let's see, next up, Gateway of the Six. Okay, so Six Samurais, they've proven that they're a great deck because a lot of people just love to play it. Just like Heroes, people really know how to work with it, and they just keep playing it over and over. It tops YCSs every once in a while. The deck as a whole is more consistent without the Gateway, just like Gadgets and Madolches and stuff are without the Ultimate Offering, because that's something you want to draw in your starting hand, and if you dead draw it later, it's, as I say, a dead draw. Gateway anytime other than turn 1 is probably not going to get you game, but if you draw it first turn, you are nearly guaranteed to win. You have probably like a 93% chance of winning, if I had to estimate, of winning just drawing Gateway in your starting hand, as long as you have like a couple Samurai or Smoke Signals to work with. So, and people are arguing, yeah, but Samurais aren't doing anything. Well, Konami's reasoning behind this list is they're chopping off all of these tier 1 decks, bumping everything up a tier, and then hitting that tier before it even becomes a problem. That way we can start out with a balanced format. Because we've never had a balanced format since, like, I don't know, Teledad? Since Synchros were made? I don't know, something like that. So that's kind of how it works. Next up, Heavy Storm. That card is ridiculously overpowered. Just wipe all the spell and trap cards off the board. If you're relying on something like Call of the Haunted to keep your monster alive, they just Heavy Storm you. Like, it forces people to also play Starlight Road in order to protect their back row if they are a back row heavy deck like Heroes or Black Wings and whatnot. And that's just, it's just one card that can completely change the game. You open up Dark Hole Heavy, you've won. I don't care what else you opened up with, you've won. Because your opponent can summon all their monsters, set all their spell and traps, feel like they're protected, and then you just Dark Hole Heavy and it's gone. And it's gone. They did keep Dark Hole in here, which I'm kind of surprised on, because you could just substitute it with a Lightning Vortex. But, I mean, I don't feel like Dark Hole is as overpowered as Heavy Storm. Especially now that they're slowing the format down and there's so few spell and traps. That would make Heavy Storm so much more powerful. And they take the power away before you can abuse it. Then, Monster Reborn. How many times have you said, man, he just top-decked Monster Reborn for game? Oh, he just top-decked Heavy for game, but that's the last point. Like, there was one game that I had playing Dark Worlds with Heroes. I went through, I think, like 3 Miracle Fusions and a Super Poly and a Judgment, Solemn Judgment, and like all of this, and like the guy stopped everything. He had to play his Solemn Judgment and 2 Solemn Warnings and other stuff, and I'm like, Reborn Grappa game? Reborn is broken. And then in a slow format, something that instantly brings back your power card for the cost of nothing? Too overpowered. That's why that's gone. Pot of Avarice. Now, the thing is, if your deck needs to utilize all of its resources, go through them, and then need to recycle them back in to use them again, you should have lost. If you've used all of your resources and haven't won, you lose. End of story. If you Pot of Avarice, that just puts everything back in your deck so you can try again. Mermails, I'm looking at you. You put all your freaking Lindies back in, and then you get all the searches back off again off of them. It's like, it's ridiculous. Pot of Avarice has been overpowered. People have been wanting it hit for a while. Plus it also gets you the draw too, just like Pot of Greed. And Pot of Greed's been banned for how long? Alright, so that's it for the banned cards. Now on to the limited. Atlantean Dragoons. Now they did it a little differently in the OCG. They put Teus to 1 instead of Dragoons to 1. Honestly think Dragoons to 1 is the better thing, because Dragoons lets you search for whatever the heck you want in your deck, really, and like Moulin Glacia if you're there and stuff. But the thing is, Teus, you can discard special summon him, and he kind of just sits there. I mean, yeah, you can use him as overlay fodder, but I mean, he's not that much of a power card, as much as Dragoons is, because Dragoons, you can discard 2 of him with a Megalo, search whatever you want, and it just completely sets you up, and it's an overpowered card. And as we've seen in this game, search cards get hit all the time, because search cards are the most powerful aspect of this game. Spellbook of Judgment, E-Call, Stratos, Black Whirlwind, like these things have been hit or are hit now. There's a reason. Brotherhood of the Fire Fist Spirit. Now, the OCG, they hit the chicken. I call him Kentucky Fried Chicken to piss my friend off because he played the Fire Fist 3-axis version. Putting Rooster to 1 makes the deck still playable, but slower. Putting Spirit to 1 kills the deck. Kills it. Yes, you can recycle him with Lion Emperor, but the way the deck works is by the time you get Lion Emperor out, there's not really anything left in your graveyard. And so you kind of just wait, and if there was, say, only 1 spirit. Because the whole thing is all your plays go off. You do the thing with the leopard, you summon the spirit, you get back the leopard, you sink, and you get the dude, and searches, and you do the things. And spirit is the heart and soul of 3-axis. Without him, the deck dies. I don't think a single 3-axis player would disagree with me. I did play 4-axis back when it was decent, but apparently 4-axis is going to be good now. People are overvaluing their Wolf Barks. I think it's going to be a good deck, definitely. But I don't think it's worth the price the Wolf Barks are at now. Deep Sea Diva to 1 now. Deep Sea Diva is another power card that the Mermail decks have. You summon it, get something free from your deck, you can sink, you could summon it, get Marksman, attack with Marksman directly, get out of Dragoons, sink for like Mistworm, or if Trishula did come back, Trishula is way overpowered. I'm glad we didn't get that back. Yes, it would have been like a fun thing, but I don't like having the overpowered cards in my game that I want to be balanced. I'm a Kaijudo player first and foremost, because this Yu-Gi-Oh game has been showing that it's dying, and Konami with this list has been breathing life back into it. This list does look balanced to me. With Deep Sea Diva at 1, it's going to be a whole lot less likely that they're going to Mistworm you, that they're going to Catastor you, but it's still going to happen, so it makes it less consistent and less powerful overall, but still having it there at the 1 is not all that bad. Let's see, then next we've got G-Nex Ally Birdman. Apparently there's some like weird OTK with Divine Wind and Mist Valley and stuff, and that's why it's to 1, so that doesn't happen, I guess. I don't know. I just saw it and I'm like, well, Heretics aren't coming back. He's a really good card that can be splashed into a multitude of decks. So at 1, he's still a good card, but he can't get those ridiculous OTKs off, and like he was even helping you OTK in Heretics. So there's that. Then next, Rescue Rabbit. Now, people who played in the Synchro Cat format definitely know how powerful that deck was. Rescue Rabbit is kind of the same. But the thing is, he can be splashed into any deck. They played him in Dino Rabbit. The whole Dino Rabbit thing is only because that card came out. Then it got hit to 2. The Rescue Rabbit got hit to 2, so the deck became less consistent and dropped a tier, and it hasn't been the same since. But still, Rescue Rabbit you can splash into all sorts of decks. Like with Heroes that I did, you can splash that in, get 2 Sparkmen, summon a Gawain, make Shockmaster shenanigans, you know, but having it at 1 basically makes it unplayable, because you have to run 1 playset of vanillas, the three of whatever type of vanilla you want if you're playing Dino Rabbit or whatever. To go with the 1 rabbit, that makes it really, really inconsistent. 2 rabbits for 1 playset does make it more consistent, but then the whole thing is your second rabbit's dead, but then hitting away that second rabbit just kills the consistency, and Dino Rabbits are not coming back. I don't see anyone playing any sort of Rescue Rabbit variant ever again. It's disappointing because it was a fun card, but how many times do you go top deck rabbit game? It's another one of those cards that Konami's hitting a lot of the top deck winners. Monster Reborn, Heavy, Rescue Rabbit, etc. Let's see, who's next? Thunder King Ryo. Okay, little tangent. Thunder King Ryo. In Japan, his name is just Ryo. Why? Because that literally translates to Thunder King, so why the hell is his name Thunder King Thunder King? But anyway, when you slow the format down the way it is now, Thunder King, he stops all these searches. How many search cards are they bringing back? Black Whirlwind, E-Call, blah blah blah, Heretic Seal. It stops all those searchings. It's really good. It stops your Xyz summons by just tributing itself. He's a really great card overall. I'm sure people are still going to play him at 1. So, I mean, I definitely see this, because especially in a slow format, Thunder King's hard to get over. Next one, Evagishki Mind August. I think they're hitting that for the sake of Heretics not being able to come back, because they don't want decks that are OTKing, because this is a slower format now. I think, because it's a level 6, and the Heretics like the level 6s, and that's my guess. If you guys know exactly why, tell me, because I haven't heard anything about it. Next up, Duloran, Tiger King of the Ice Barrier. Hey guys, you got your Ice Barrier card you wanted back to 1, right? Oh, you meant Trish. Oh no. Well, instead of giving you the broken card, let's limit the less broken one. I honestly don't know why it's at 1. People only played 1 of it when they did anyway. Constellar Ptolemy M7. That's a card you can splash into a lot of different decks, because it's one of those, like, you can summon it over an Xyz monster kind of thing. That makes it really powerful. And then in Constellars, it's another guy that bounces things back to hand. In this game, bouncing things back to hand is a pretty powerful mechanic, because you only have 1 normal summon a turn. When you normal summon, they bounce that back. That's pretty, like, they're shitting on you right there. Constellars only usually play 1 M7 anyway, so I don't think it's going to hurt them too much. Dimensional Fissure. This is one that can be played like main decked in Fire Fists, just because they can still send their spell cards to the graveyard to activate their effects, and yeah, and then it stops the mermails and everything. Now, without Heavy Storm in the picture, these continuous cards are a lot easier to keep on the field. You have to 1-for-1 an MST with it. So, I think that's their reasoning behind this and Macrocosmos. If you can main deck a side deck card and make it work, plus if your power card to get rid of it is gone, it's overpowered. Having them both at 1, you can side 1 of each, but you can't usually main both of them in the same type of deck. Like Fire Fists, you can main the D-Fissure, but you can't main the Macrocosmos. So I totally see what they're going with there. Next up, Gold Sarcophagus, E-Dragon's End of Story. You just activate that, you banish the E-Dragon, you get a plus off the search, then you get that back 2 turns later. You can Gold Sark for a Heavy Storm just to get that, or Gold Sark for a Dark Hole just because you know you're going to need it in 2 turns. It's the ultimate search card. You can play different Dimension Capsule over it though, because it banishes your card face down so you don't get your Heretic search. Or, Heretic, wow. I'm tired. It's like 10 o'clock at night right now. You don't get your E-Dragon search. because it's face down, and then the card has to stay on the field. So the second it's MST, that face down card that's banished stays there, and you can't bring it back because you can't identify a face down card with something like Return from the Different Dimension and stuff like that. So yeah. Let's see. Next up, Royal Tribute. My first regional playing meta deck, I played Mermails in Dragon's Den in Poughkeepsie, a regional about a year ago, I would say. I'm not entirely sure on that. But I played against Gravekeepers round 1. Okay, they're not that great. I think I can beat them. He wins the dice roll, activates Necro Valley, sets his spy or whatever, the one that flips and summons, yeah, that one. And then he sets all his other spell traps and stuff, and he goes Royal Tribute. My hand was all monsters, and I top decked like a boss, drawing, you guessed it, crap. I won the other 2 games, but still, being able to do something like that is just stupid. And in a slow format, Gravekeepers are going to be one of those decks. They're going to actually be decent. Compulsory Evacuation Device. They're hitting a lot of staple cards, the staple trap cards, so I'm going to hit them all in one shot. The Compulse, the Bottomless, the Dimensional Prison, all that kind of stuff. And keeping the Mirror Force at 2 and putting Torrential back at 1. Yeah, the whole thing with this is, again, Heavy Storm is gone. This is a slow format. These cards are overpowered in a slow format. When you could just Draco Sack 4 times in a turn if you really wanted to, a Compulse and a Bottomless aren't really gonna do anything. I know, I've tried it. It doesn't do jack shit. But when your opponent uses their Mizuki to bring back their Zombie Master, and you activate Bottomless, bye-bye Zombie Master, you just screwed them over. Compulse. Probably my best card against anything that exceeds summons, especially Dino Rabbit. You make them waste their Logia negate. You bounce their, wow, I can't think of his name, Dolka. Back to their hand or extra deck. Bounces Utopia back. Like, it just gets around everything. So that's why that they're putting these things at 1 or keeping the Mirror Force at 2. Because if all you can do is normal summon once a turn, maybe get a couple special summons like off the Zombie Master or something, like, a Mirror Force is gonna butt screw you. A Torrential is gonna butt screw you. So these cards all going to 1 or 2, it really helps. It makes it so this game is still playable while slow. Let's see, what did I miss? Oh, Eradicator. Eradicator is a card that you can just activate and then your opponent scoops. Against spellbooks, they just drop their whole hand in the graveyard. Against Fire Fist, they can drop their whole hand into the graveyard. I did that in a video, and then I Heavy Stormed his morning so he had no cards. I won that game. It was not hard. I'm sorry, Brian. Yeah. Putting it at 1 so you can still side deck it, but it's just like having 3 copies that literally every time I sided it, I drew it turn 1 and I made a big eye. Or I made Red Dragon Archfiend. And then I just set that and I passed. And shit happened. So that's why that's gone. And then Soul Drain. That is another card that just completely screws over certain decks too much. So that having it at 3 just doesn't make the decks really all that playable. I've done it. I've sided 2 Soul Drain, 2 Mind Drain against Mermails before. Just flip one of them over, they have to scoop because they can't do anything. Especially with no Heavy Storm now, they will have even less outs to it. That's why it's going to 1. Alright, so now we get to the semi-limited cards. This is probably a long video. How much am I at? Like a half hour? Holy God. I have thoughts and I share them. Semi-limited, Mizuki and Plague Spreader Zombie. Okay, so you've got Mizuki so that zombies can be a thing again. You've got Plague Spreader so zombies can be a thing again. Now, the first thought when I see the Plague Spreader is that you're going to be synchroing zombies and stuff. That's probably not going to happen. They're probably going to do the new vampire thing. They're probably going to just use that as a special summon from the grave so that they contribute that for a vampire lord or something. Which gives the deck a little bit more playability. So that's what I like. Plague Spreader as a whole right now is not that powerful of a card, even in a slower format. It just gives you the tribute fodder for the vampire lord. It lets you sync for things every once in a while. It's pretty cool. It is kind of like a minus in order to play him, so there's that. Apparently, ultis of it are going for like 50 bucks. Like, people, why are you trying to screw over others? Like, it's not worth that. Seriously. I have a gold rare one. I think it's like 10. Gold rare is, in my opinion, a higher like rarity, like a higher shininess. So shouldn't that be at like 100? Like, I don't understand. Same with Ulti Zombie Master. I had one of those, traded it to my friend, one of my friends, and when it was like 12 or something. Now it's at 50. I don't care. I got a pretty decent deal for it. That's what it was worth. But anyway, bringing the Mizuki back, that's kind of like a zombie's best play, is to, like, they'll have their Vampire Lord or one of their zombie Xyzs in the graveyard. They can just banish it to bring it back and actually be able to play stuff, because zombies are really slow. Because usually they're like, so, yeah. Actually speeds them up a little bit, so they're kind of like this. Oh, wow. Bad zombie impression is bad. TG Striker to 2. I think I know of at least 2 people who are like, yeah, TG Agents, I'm playing that now. Yeah. TGs are a thing again. They'll probably be good. I guess. There's no reason it should have been still at 1. I don't think anybody can disagree with me. Fire Formation Tenki. Okay, we all know that card Reinforcement of the Army, or Rhoda, that has been limited for like forever, because it can search basically anything, because lots of cards are warriors. Well, lots of things are Beast Warrior too. Constellars play this, Boojins play this, Fire Fist play it as they should. It's a Fire Fist card. Heck, you can splash it in TGs. My god, what the heck? You can put this thing in anything that's decent, and you get searches. And you can play it in wind-ups and search Wind-Up Rabbit. Like, seriously, guys. It's too good. It's still at 2. You can play it. It does things. MST negates that card. Don't cry. And I went over the Deep Prison. Okay, so the no longer on list. Destiny Hero Malicious. They banned Stratos. What's it gonna do? I mean, yes, it's still going to be really good, but it's not going to be, like, devastatingly good. Like, it's not going to be too good. It's just going to be good. Agent of Mystery Earth. Agents came back for, like, a month when Earth went to 2, and then they died again because decks are better than that. So now it's at 3, and the TG Striker's at 2, so apparently TG Agents is a thing, and that's gonna happen, and it's gonna be fun. So that's cool. I honestly don't mind, because the only thing they really search for is the Venus, and then they get their shiny balls, and they overlay into gotchis and stuff like that. So if they're searching out Venus 3 times, yeah, they're not gonna get the shine ball plays off more than once though, so you gotta think about that aspect. It just makes it a little more consistent. Then Tsukiyomi, we saw it come back to 2. It was a great side deck card against Ophion to flip it down so you can still special summon your level 5 or highers or whatever it was. I don't remember. Wow. Does that make me a bad player or something? I play Evil Swarms like twice a week. against them once a week. So yeah, Tsukiyomi, it's really slow. Even in a slow format, it's still really slow. And the reason it was banned was the whole goat control thing, where you're flipping down your 1000 eyes restrict, then you flip summon the other one, take their monster, attack them, next turn summon the Tsukiyomi, flip that one down, destroys the equipped opponent's monster, you flip summon the other one, take their monster, attack them, next turn, you Yugioh. So that doesn't happen anymore. So Tsukiyomi to 3. Next up, a Hero Lives. That's next on the list. I'm gonna do Hero Lives and E-Call. Okay. Hero Lives and E-Call. Hero searchy kind of cards. Hero Lives, you have to pay half your life points. It was at 2. I wouldn't even play more than 2 in a deck. Because you pay half your freaking life points. That's a lot. Just to special summon a hero monster, and you can't have any monsters in order to summon it. So this is like a last-ditch effort kind of card. Putting it to 3 is not going to do anything. And E-Call replaces Stratos, and it's kind of just as good. Honestly, yes, Stratos is a little better. Because you can, like, bring him back with Call the Haunted and use it again. That makes him broken, and should be banned. I'm a hero player. I've been a hero player forever. I played Flame Wingman back in the day. Like, that was a thing that I played. And I won, like, a game with it. So, I can talk. Heroes are still going to be alive. Because E-Call. Then we have Black Whirlwind to 3. Black Wings were pretty decent as a whole. I think with Black Whirlwind at 3, again, that makes the whole thing a little more consistent. You can search out your dudes and special summon the things and do the synchros and the attacking and whatnot. And it makes the deck better. I'm not entirely sure if it will be a tier 1 deck. Time will tell. But it still is really, really good that they have a little bit more of a push back into the meta. I do know of one friend who's played Black Wings and only Black Wings ever. And she's ecstatic, and another guy who just recently quit it to net deck my hero deck, and he's going to go back into that, and it's going to be a bitch for him to get all those shiny cards back he used to have. Sorry, Peter. Let's see. Oh yeah, Heretic Seal of Convocation. Has Heretics done anything since they hit the red MD? No? Okay, moving on. And since they hit the Gishki hand loop thing, so it's not really going to happen. Sorry guys, I've tried. I love Heretics as a deck, but they're just solely an OTK based deck. If you can't OTK, you lose. It's really unfortunate that they couldn't have made a better dragon archetype that isn't E-Dragons, but then Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality is slow. You reveal the top 3, so your opponent knows what you're picking, blah blah blah. It's a good card. And then finally, Scapegoat to 3. Wasn't doing anything at 1. I guess Mecha Phantom Beast can try to play it, but it just takes up so much room. You have to have those 4 monster card zones. And then, I guess Plasma is going to use it, or whatever. I don't know if Plasma is going to be a good deck. It would be cool if it is, because he's kind of like a more powered up Relinquished, but anyways, I'm pretty sure that's the whole list. So I'm going to do a regionals tomorrow, so that will be fun. I will try to get as much footage as I can, and I'm going to take heroes, and I'm going to lose a lot. But Mr. Do 002, Tyler, he is playing the E-Dragon deck that I traded him. Beefed it up. He's got some good cards in there, so probably by the time you see this, that's what we will be doing. I'll be losing, he'll be winning. He's like, I think he was 13-1 at our locals with that deck in the build it was. And then I think he changed the side deck a little bit. But anyway, I'll see you guys later.